You've been visualizing wrong your entire life. Every goal-setting book, every motivational speaker, every coach who told you to close your eyes and picture your success gave you a tool with the batteries missing. The technique they should have taught you works on a completely different channel in your brain. And the gap between the two explains why some people rehearse their future and step into it, while others daydream for years and stay exactly where they are. Picture the standard advice. You sit down, close your eyes, and see yourself on stage giving a talk. You watch yourself from the outside, like a movie. You look confident. The audience is clapping. It feels nice, motivating even. You open your eyes and nothing has shifted. Your hands still sweat at the thought of public speaking. Your chest still tightens when you walk into a room with more than 10 people. The reason is mechanical. When you visualize from the outside, watching yourself like a character in a film, your brain processes it as fiction, entertainment, something happening to someone else. The same neural regions that activate when you watch a stranger on a screen are the ones doing the work. You're a spectator at your own future. Sensory immersion operates through a different door entirely. Instead of watching yourself give the talk, you're standing at the podium. You feel the wood grain under your fingertips. The microphone smells faintly metallic. The lights are warm on your face, and you can't quite see past the third row because of the glare. Your mouth is dry. You take a breath. You hear your own voice leave your body and bounce off the back wall. That shift from watching to inhabiting changes which parts of the brain light up. Motor regions activate. The areas responsible for planning physical action start firing. Your brain begins encoding the experience with the same machinery it uses for actual memories. And this is where it gets strange. Your brain is remarkably bad at distinguishing between a vividly immersed rehearsal and something that actually happened. Researchers at the Cleveland Clinic ran a study where participants simply imagined flexing their biceps. They performed zero physical exercise. Over 12 weeks, the group using vivid first-person motor imagery increased their muscle strength by double digits. The control group, doing nothing at all, stayed flat. Muscles responded to imagined sensation. The body took orders from a rehearsal it couldn't tell apart from the real thing. So why does standard visualization fail where immersion succeeds? The answer lives in a concept called functional equivalence. When your internal simulation is rich enough, when it includes texture, temperature, sound, the weight of your body, the micro movements of your hands, your brain treats it as a low-resolution draft of reality. It pre-wires the motor sequences. It adjusts your stress calibration for that environment. It updates your prediction models. Standard visualization skips all of that. You get a pretty picture with no sensory weight. Your brain files it next to movie trailers and daydreams. Nothing downstream changes. Think about the last time you rehearsed a difficult conversation in the shower. You weren't watching yourself from across the room. You were in it. You heard the other person's voice. You felt the heat of the water on your shoulders while your stomach knotted around the words you were practicing. That shower rehearsal was closer to real sensory immersion than anything a vision board has ever produced. Athletes figured this out decades before the research caught up. A sprinter preparing for a race doesn't visualize a bird's-eye view of the track. She feels the blocks against her feet, the grit of the rubber surface, the starter pistol's crack, and the explosive push from her calves. Every sense loaded and sequenced in real time. The difference between the two approaches shows up on brain scans with almost embarrassing clarity. Third-person visualization activates visual processing regions and some emotional coloring. First-person sensory immersion activates motor cortex, spatial processing, autonomic regulation, and memory encoding simultaneously. One is a photograph, the other is a dress rehearsal with a full cast. And the implications go beyond performance. Consider anxiety. When you worry about a future event, you're already doing sensory immersion, just pointed in the wrong direction. You feel the tightness in your throat before the job interview. You hear the silence after you say the wrong thing. You smell the office. Your palms are already damp. Your brain is running a full body simulation of failure, and your stress response can't tell it from a real threat. The sweat is real. The cortisol dump is real. The rehearsal just happens to be catastrophic, which means you've already proven you can do this. You do it every time you worry. The skill is fully operational. You've just been using it to practice worst-case scenarios on repeat. burning those pathways deeper every night before bed. Redirecting that same engine toward a specific sensory-rich outcome changes the rehearsal without changing the mechanism. You already own the hardware. The wiring works. You've been stress testing it for years with your anxiety. The only variable is what scene you load into it. But there's a catch that most guides leave out. Sensory immersion has diminishing returns if the scene you're rehearsing is unrealistic. Your brain is a prediction engine. Feed it a scenario that violates too many of its existing models. You're suddenly a billionaire, you're bench pressing 400 pounds, you're fluent in Mandarin by Tuesday, and it quietly discards the simulation. The functional equivalence breaks down because the gap between the rehearsal and your current reality is too wide for the prediction system to take seriously. The sweet spot is just beyond your current edge, one step past what you've already done. A presentation to 50 people when you've survived 20. A difficult conversation where you hold your ground for 10 seconds longer than last time. Your brain will encode that as plausible. And plausible is all the prediction engine needs to start pre-wiring. This is why elite performers don't immerse in fantasy outcomes. They immerse in the next performance, the specific venue, the actual opponent, the real conditions, including the parts that could go wrong. They rehearse recovering from a stumble, not a flawless run. The stumble makes it feel real. The recovery is what gets encoded. There's a practical sequence that makes this work without any mystical framing. You choose one specific scenario, not a vague life goal, but a scene with a location, a time, and other people in it. You close your eyes and step into your own body inside that scene. Then you layer the senses one at a time. What do you see from your own eyes? What do you hear? What surfaces are you touching? What does the air taste like? What does your body feel like? Your posture, your breathing, the tension in your jaw. Each sense you add deepens the encoding. 3 senses gets you past the threshold where your brain starts taking it seriously. 5 senses, and your body begins responding as if it's happening. Heart rate shifts, breathing adjusts, micro-expressions change. You're no longer thinking about the event, you're inside a draft of it. 20 to 30 seconds of high-fidelity immersion outperforms 10 minutes of fuzzy third-person visualization. Duration matters less than resolution. A short, vivid rehearsal with sweat on your palms beats a long, pleasant movie in your head every single time. The people who dismiss all mental rehearsal as wishful thinking are reacting to the weak version, the vision boards, the affirmation mirrors, the just picture it and believe industry. Fair criticism. That version doesn't change your wiring, it changes your mood for about 15 minutes. Sensory immersion operates on a different level because it speaks the language your motor and memory systems already use. Sensation, sequence, weight, texture, time. Your body has been taking orders from imagined scenarios since you were old enough to have a nightmare and wake up with your heart slamming against your ribs. That machinery runs whether you direct it or not. Every anxious rehearsal before a meeting, every catastrophic preview of a conversation, those are uncontrolled immersion sessions, and they're training your body to respond to a future you built out of fear. The only question worth asking is what scene you'd load if you were doing it on purpose. And the next time you catch yourself running a worst-case simulation at 2 in the morning, palms damp, chest tight, jaw locked, remember that your brain just proved the technique works. It's running at full power. You just handed it the wrong script.